there, Sandra here from Create in Spain, and today's video is a request from my friend Alison. She wants to know how to make a non-standard sized envelope. Now, while I am doing a standard size card here, the actual details pertain to whatever size you need. And that is because the paper size that you need is done on a percentage basis or a multiplication basis for the calculation of the size of the sheet. So in this particular case, I have a card which is approximately 15 by 10.5, the usual standard size. But I'm going to need a piece of paper considerably bigger than that in order to make the envelope. Now, the way I do the calculation is relatively simple. Take the width of your card and multiply that by 1.6, or basically 1 2/3, more or less. The height you want to multiply by 2 1/3 or 2.3, depending on how you like to do it. So I've actually cut my piece of paper more or less to size, with the exception that mine isn't really quite wide enough. Okay, I would prefer it to be a little wider. It's basically a cut down piece of A4. Because I'm doing this as a demonstration, I didn't really want to get out a roll of wrapping paper to do it. So this should be a little bit wider. It should be 24 centimeters, because that is 1.6 times the 15, it's 24. For my height, it should be 24.15. I've made this 25. You know, it doesn't have to be that precise. Now, if you think about an envelope, the main part of the envelope doesn't usually come right to the top there. It comes probably to about there. Okay, so I would just put a fold in like that. So far, so good. Okay, and then I would fold this bit down over here. I haven't got it quite straight, but never mind. So that would be the first two folds. Now, if you're particularly fussed, you can actually measure the sides and make sure you get this exactly in the center. I am not going to bother, sorry Alison. Life is too short for me to worry about a very precisely cut envelope, because everyone throws those away, they don't keep the envelopes. So you then fold these pieces in, trying to make sure that you fold them straight, okay? You don't have to be that worried, but reasonably. Now you can see when you take this away, you have the size of your card there. And the rest of it is pretty simple. This bit here, you want to trim a little bit of an angle off of here and go into that corner. You can make it a slightly steeper angle if you want to, but don't make it too steep. And you just take out a little bit on that side as well. And do the same on this side. So a little bit there. You can obviously mark this out with a ruler and a pencil if you want to, and use a paper trimmer to do it. It's up to you, but this is just a demonstration of the basic technique. So here we would have the start of our envelope. Now you notice that when these flaps are folded in, they're going to give you that funny straight line, which you generally don't get. So what I would suggest, if you're going to mark it out, just mark where that line is there. So a little mark there. And where it is there. And then you can cut, avoiding that mark, so go down a bit lower than that mark to this fold, the fold that goes to the top of the envelope. Okay. So a little bit further down there, just to the corner. And now these flaps will go in and that one will go over the top, or you can do it the other way around. It's your choice. I generally prefer to do it that way. So now we have pretty much all the envelope done, and all you need to do is to mark up a little angle on there and a little angle on there, and just cut those pieces off. So there we are. 1, 2, like so. Then all you need is your double-sided tape and you have your perfectly formed envelope. Now if you don't have patterned paper, you can use wrapping paper for this. If you want to use a plain paper but you want it coloured, use your inks to colour it. You know, why not? If that's what you'd like to do, you can draw on it, you can put stickers on it, you can use alcohol markers on it. Do what you want to do. Bear in mind though, if you're going to use things like markers on there, if your paper is quite thin, it's going to show through on the inside and you might want to make yourself a liner. If you're making yourself a liner, allow a little bit of extra room for your card because the liner will enclose it and make it a bit tight. So you put on your tape and you make your envelope. Now, the last thing that I need to tell you is check where your fold is going to go. All right, this one's fine. It will go on here and it's not too high up there, so I could put tape on here. If I put the tape up here, the tape's going to be exposed, which is okay if you're seeing it down immediately, but if you're not, it's going to cause some problems. So in this particular option, I will put the tape on there. I'm just going to do that with a piece of narrow tape. If I could get the backing tape off. There we go. Those are folded in. That goes on there. Envelope is basically done. Just need to put either some tape along there or up here along there and down there. It depends what you want to do. But because you've only taken a little narrow angle, you're safe. You're not going to be contacting the card inside. And that's the bit that usually gets people when they're making envelopes. They suddenly think, right, I'll close that down. And they suddenly find that it doesn't match up. But with the measurements that I've given you, that will match up. Even if that was a centimetre shorter, it would still go over the top there. And as you can see, even with the slightly narrow paper that I used, I could still get away with it. And the reason I could still get away with it is because this angle here on this piece I've put up was so narrow. If I'd have cut it more like that, then you'd have had to have these wider. So you have options, but that is the basic method of doing it. Those are the basic calculations, and if you follow that, you'll be able to do the envelope any size you want. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care now. Bye bye.